Hi, it's xxoxia here, coming at you live from the same place as always. I just filmed this video, but got a phone call in the middle and had to stop. Because I can't pause like normal people. And I swear to Christ, if my phone rings again, which I'm sure it probably will, unless you make it all the way through this video, or if you see this video, then I guess not. Then I would like to talk to you about a film called Explorers, which came out in 1985. It was Ethan Hawke's first film, River Phoenix's first film, Amanda Peterson from Can't Buy Me Love. She was in this for some scenes, which actually came out the same year as Can't Buy Me Love. I assume first, because everybody's a little bit younger. And some fake Corey Feldman kid. It probably should have been Corey Feldman, but he was probably working on Goonies, which I don't blame him. So I'd never heard of this kid, the third boy. He kind of reminded me of Corey Feldman. It probably should have been Corey. They probably wanted Corey Feldman. And they were like, oh, well, this kid's good enough. I never heard of him, though, so I don't think he's done much since then. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. So, Explorers. Now, I just might add that Amanda Peterson and River Phoenix both died of drug issues. I think River Phoenix actually died of pneumonia that was related to drug issues. Or no, he did die of a drug overdose. Who am I thinking of? Who the hell am I Corey Haim. Corey Haim. Another 80s kid actor. Died from some kind of drug issues. So, don't do drugs. Right, so, and speaking of the 80s, fuck is this shit? It's like 80s here. So, Explorers. So, now, I've been meaning to watch this for a long time, and I'd seen pieces here and there, and, you know, I finally got around to watching it. And the premise is interesting. You know, most of us have always wanted to do what they do in this movie. And the first half to 2/3 of the movie is great. It's great. Where the movie falls flat is the end. The ending third, I'd say. The end half, maybe third. And I'll get to that in a minute. But Ethan Hawke, it starts out with Ethan Hawke in this dream where he's flying through this electronic world. It looks kind of like the inside of an 80s like motherboard or a pinball machine even. And he slowly starts seeing these symbols, these designs. And eventually the other two boys join him in the dream. Like, they all have the same dream, and they're all like floating through this same place, whatever it is, and they see the same these other designs. And they start piecing them together and realize that it's instructions on how to build a ship. Now, River Phoenix is he does these experiments in his basement. He has his computer, and his little Apple computer from the 80s, and which is powered by a 9-volt battery. They eventually they find this force field ball thing that can go through anything. It goes through. He can control where it goes. He can make it bigger, and in order to make it even bigger, he needs more power. So, fake Corey Feldman takes him to his dad's junkyard where they get a car battery. That hooks up to the computer somehow, and they make the ball bigger and realize that they can actually make it appear around them, so they can ride in the ball, but they can't breathe. So they build a ship that they, eventually ends up inside the ball. They have their computer in the ship, so they can control where they go. They have an oxygen tank, so they can breathe, and eventually these dreams lead to telling them how to get infinite oxygen. I never really put this together in the movie. I mean, I know that's what happens, but I'm not really sure they explain it very well. I don't know. It feels like the electronic world in the dreams should be the place where they go. when they get to traveling around space. But they never do. It just kind of goes away, and they forget about it till the very, very last scene, which I'll explain in a minute. Ethan Hawke has a crush on Amanda Peterson. He's kind of like, yeah, I want her to be my girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And I guess she kind of knows, probably. And she's always like, you know, she just pops up in the background a lot. She doesn't really, I don't even think she has many lines. She has a few lines. So they build this ship, and they start flying around town. They go to the drive-in theater. There's like a little space alien movie playing, some fake movie, and they're like flying in front of the screen. And some kid that's sitting in the car with his girlfriend's like, "Oh, that looks so fake," and then it like fly towards the kid, and it's great. They just go flying around, scaring the shit out of people. Dick Miller, who is from Gremlins, another Joe Dante film. This is a Joe Dante film. He's a helicopter pilot, and apparently, I didn't put this together when I watched the film, but apparently his character might have had the same dreams at some point, but could never figure out what to do with them or something. But he sees the ship, and he decides to go looking for it. And now, he finds the kids, and he's like, and he sees them taking off. He's like, "Way to go, kids!" And that's the last time you ever see him. But it feels like his storyline was incomplete. Like, I feel now the movie was rushed, rushed because they wanted to hit a deadline to release the movie, which was August 2nd, 1985, I think. So the second half kind of feels like that might have been why it sucked. And what happens is the kids finally end up going into space about halfway through the film. They have an alien, some kind of signal pulling them in, and they're talking to them through the computer, and it's like, I don't think they know what it means. But the aliens start pulling them up to the ship. Now, I kind of thought, either maybe they should have gone to this electronic world that was in their dreams, but, that doesn't happen. And I also kind of thought that maybe the Dick Miller character should have been like, like some kind of military guy, and then he, sees the ship, and then maybe gets the CIA, chasing the kids or whatever. I thought that would have made a better movie. That's not what happens. Instead, the kids go to this alien ship, and for a little bit, it's okay. They start looking around. They don't know where to go. There's nobody in there, and they get separated, and it's like, maybe it could still be good. But then they meet the aliens. There's these two aliens that are teenage aliens, and one of them, apparently they've been watching United States television from the 80s, I might add. So the aliens speak in commercials. They kind of just start spouting off commercials, and they go into a song number, and it's 10 minutes of this shit, just fucking talking infomercial bullshit. It's kind of like Bumblebee from the Transformers film. I can't remember if he was like that in the cartoon or not, but in the film he speaks through radio, radio stations. So the aliens speak through commercials, and it's just boring. It's stupid. The aliens look stupid, and it's just these little green guys in costumes. They're costumes. Pretty sure they're guys in costumes. And then the dad alien comes in, the big dad alien. Starts yelling at the boy alien, and it sucks. The ending sucks, and eventually the kids go. Even Ethan Hawke in the film is like, this is what we find. He's not happy about it. And the aliens, they're afraid to go to Earth because of movies. Movies where they shoot aliens, and they think that's real. They think it's all real. So they're like, oh, we only trust you. That's why we brought you here. Blah 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 blah. And it's just stupid. It's stupid. And he gives him this necklace. He gives Ethan Hawke this necklace that has one of the designs from the Dream electronic world in it. Never find out what it does or why he has it. We don't know. So they go back to Earth. The ship sinks in water, and they're like, "Oh, it was a good ship." What the fuck? Like, why? I would never want to get rid of that. But whatever. I mean, I don't think they mean to. It's an accident. But I would have not landed over water, maybe? I don't know. They lose the force field, and it drops in. But whatever. Okay. So they lose the ship. They go back to school, and then they're all in the dream at the end, flying. Even the girl, Amanda Peterson's there. And they're all just flying through this electronic world again. It's the worst ending. And I think it all is just because the studios were rushing them to get it out, and they had to write something quick. Otherwise it would have been good. I mean, had they done something, I don't know. I mean, going to space is fine. That's fine. But the alien shit just destroyed this movie. And, this came out, this was 3 years after E.T. I've seen people that like this better than E.T., but honestly, it doesn't even fucking compare to E.T. I think there's one guy that only liked it better because E.T. has sad shit in it, quote. Sad shit. That's great! E.T.'s fucking great! You want a little emotion in your movie, and then you have the happy ending, and it's great, even though it's sad. It's still sad. It's a sad ending, but I don't know, man. This movie just fell flat, that last half. So that's Explorers. Don't do drugs.